Sure enough.
This is Jamaica land we love. But in the blink of an eye, someone may die.
This is our country, and we have to take a stand.
We are our brother's keeper. We make the country we live in.
So we have to stand up and not make crime, mash it up.
Standing for women and children.
Take a stand for each other.
Take a stand for the culture.
A we country. We can't make crime mash it up.
A message from Crime Stop and the JCF. Stand for something.
Who comes to us for help will be attended.
right, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. Greetings, 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 everybody. Welcome. I greet you well. And I say always greetings and peace. Profound, positive vibrations and positive sounds. Robert, I see you. Roina, good to see you as well. Barbara Bailey, you are in the building. So we're live on our YouTube channel, folks, and we ask that you post that YouTube link in on your Facebook page and anywhere else you can post it, so we can invite some folks over here. Julius Spence, I see you, my brother. Blessings to you, Julius. Good to see you. Who else we got? So we're running a little bit late this evening, as you know, but nonetheless, we're here. They say always better to be late than never. So we are here. How you all doing? Bless up yourself, Julius. Good to see you. Good to see you and welcome. This evening we are running solo. Quite a few interesting things for us to chit chat about. And we're gonna get into it. The Harmony Beach Park is a big ticket item this evening. There's a video that was produced by Irene, the Ukrainian Jamaican. She does an excellent job on that video on her YouTube channel. I had a chance to look at it. I think I'm going to share it with some of you guys this evening so you can watch it. But it basically breaks down, I think the question she asked and did a pretty good job at answering it was, what happens to the tourism dollars in Jamaica? And she did an excellent job in explaining to persons what the tourism dollars is used for. So I'll play a couple of clips from that YouTube channel so you guys can have a look at it and just get a good understanding as to how, because she did excellent in breaking it down, and I think that was a good one. Okay, so loads of stuff happening, lots of stuff happening throughout this week. We're still loading up the YouTube channel somewhat. We just have about just a few persons on. So while we wait for you folks to, as they say, share the program and spread the word, we wait and give you guys a few minutes to share. There's some political gimmicks that we need to chat about as well. You know, I'll tell you something, social media is deadly, you know. Social media is very deadly. The People's National Party went on their political retreat. You know, lots of company does that. You know, every company in the world from time to time would go on a retreat to sort of recalibrate, get their bearings back together so they can function as a cohesive group. And the People's National Party would not be left out of that. They went ahead and they went into a political retreat. And you know, sometimes I don't know. I try sometimes to figure out who are the PR people behind the opposition People's National Party, because sometimes they really don't do the leader and the party any justice. No, one would want to think that a retreat is somewhat a internal internal function. A retreat is not something you broadcast or you publish for the rest of the world to see, because it is somewhere where you go and you basically strategize and do various activities to get your organization back on track. Well, unfortunately, they Alric, good to see you. Barbara, good to see you. Well, unfortunately, they decided to publish some of the activities that they did in their retreat. And of course, some of those unkind social media practitioners took it to task and they made a mockery of it. Very good exercise, but it's not one for the public. You know, I don't know who advised the group to put that out there, but that's not something for public consumption. That's definitely an internal mechanism and should remain internal. However, as you would have seen, it wound up all over social media, and as such, they are having a blast with it. There is so much more that we have to chit chat about this evening. Like I said to you last week, we had George Wright on. That was a very good discussion with MP Wright, and I'm going to put it out there. So I had a lot of phone calls after the show last week, and text messages and emails of persons asking why Mayor Williams was not on. And of course, just like they took the PNP to task, they've taken Mayor Williams to task. And some of the comments were not nice. The good thing is they were internal. They were messages to me and not a discussion on not a discussion on social media, open social media. But people start to draw their own conclusion, thinking that Mayor did not want to come on because George Wright was on. Let me just put it out there. That's what is being said. That the Mayor did not come on because independent MP George Wright was on. Anyway, of course, I would have said to persons who had that belief that was not the case, because the Mayor would have communicated to me during the hosting of the program last week and would have explained why they couldn't get him on. So had some issues with his device, and that was the reason given to me why he was not. Huh? Bridget Watson, good to see you, my friend. How are you? So that's the reason given to me. I have no other way of verifying yeah or nay. But while you're coming in, guys, welcome again to our YouTube channel. This is where we're going to be doing business on the regular, as they would say. So I ask you guys to like and share the page. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel and press that notification bell so you'll be notified every time we upload a video or we go live. And you don't want to be missing out on this. Cleve, my friend, good to see you, my brother. So back to that internal exercise that just took off out there. There are some comments that you would hear on social media with regards to what they saw. And man, I tell you, some folks are just very unkind. Social media, I tell you, I don't want to be on the wrong side of social media, because I tell you what, they can really do you bad. So one commentator on social media said the People's National Party is the strong and mighty People's National Party is being held together by strings. And I found that to be very, very, very Kevin, good to see you. Good to see you, Kevin Williams. Kevin Williams is the power man out there. Well, not the power man. He's the shower man out there in East Rural St. Andrew, the constituency of MP Juliet Holness. Good to see you, my brother. Another commentator said, "What a tangle web they weave." One is now saying it's a web of lies, but that's also tell you how ill-advised the opposition would be. That to me is CC Adrian's good to see you. That to me was an internal system and should not have been published, but they found it in their heart of heart to publish it, and they will face the consequences on social media. The People's National Party, PNP, in Parliament last week had a very they had a ball, and they were upset with the seating arrangement of George Wright again. Very upset. I think Philip Paulwell posted a video highlighting his disgust and disagreement with the seating arrangement of George Wright. Now, let me make this clear, because a lot of persons came out last week. Some had good comments, some had bad comments. A lot of persons said, "Whoa, I see you're campaigning for George Wright." Let me just make this clear. I reserve the right to promote whomever I feel like promoting. One thing I will never support is domestic violence, whether it's against women, men, or child. Doesn't matter. I don't support it. Like I said last week, I asked the gentleman to speak to Jamaica and to tell Jamaica clarify with Jamaicans. He knew, he's very well aware of some of the concerns. And what some persons say, "Oh, you didn't ask." I asked several times that question in many different ways. I said to MP Wright, "I'm giving you an opportunity to speak to the people of your constituency and to speak to the people of Jamaica. George Wright, is well aware of some of the concerns and what is out there in social media and traditional media." I said that. And you're now given an opportunity to speak to it in whatever way you feel like. And he did. He said there's a police investigation that came up with nothing, no charge against him, and he's sticking by that. I cannot press him any further. I cannot force him to confess or to deny. That's not my duty. That's not my job. I'm not a judge, folks. Give me a basket to carry water. I'm not a judge. So all I can do is to ask the questions and give the people an opportunity to explain themselves. And I think I did that. I watched it several times. And I think I would have done that. So I cannot take responsibility for that. So that big argument in Parliament where everybody get up and start to shout. You know, I found the comments by Lisa Hanna to be very disrespectful and disturbing. I mean, Lisa Hanna is today sitting in Parliament not because the people of that constituency voted for her. She's not sitting there legitimately because of the people's vote. She's actually sitting there because of the courts. the court that actually recounted and recounted and recalculated and sent her there. And she's sitting there perhaps with the lowest vote on the PNP side. And for her to ask the Speaker of the House to remove George Wright and to remove the hand sanitizer from the door and to put George Wright at the door, at the entrance. I mean, come on, man. Where do you get off? Where do you stop? And people must bear in mind, let me tell you, I said it last week and I'll say it again. It's not just a warning to the JLP members. It's a warning to the PNP as well. You cannot treat people as though you are of any higher standard than the persons you are mistreating. Look at the level of hypocrisy. The same week, following the grandstanding in Parliament, the decision was taken by the PNP to send Angela Brown-Burke out to bat, to defend their position. And so she came to defend. She was on nationwide morning program, and the two brilliant young lady was there, and the question came up as to why the People's National Party is so up in arms about the seating arrangement for George Wright, and none other than the member Angela Brown-Burke stood up to defend the position of the PNP, stating why they believe that he should not be sitting there. But when the question was asked by the young journalist, both of them, one asked, so you are so uncomfortable with George Wright sitting in Parliament, but yet you're comfortable. You're uncomfortable with George, MP Wright, but you're very much comfortable with Natalie Nita Headley and Michael Phillips. Remember that those two persons were not just, it wasn't just some viral video that allegedly to be Michael, or it was some photograph that people were rumoring around said to be of Natalie Nita Headley. That wasn't the case. There was absolutely no doubt, because those two particular cases went to court. They went to court and they had to seek mediation in one case, and I'm not so certain what happened in the other. But the fact of the matter is, Angela Brown-Burke is quite comfortable to sit in the middle between Michael Phillips and Natalie Nita Headley, but she's uncomfortable to share the opposition benches with George Wright, who is an independent candidate, meaning he opposed the government. He opposed the government and he opposed the majority opposition, which is the People's National Party. So he actually is in the middle. But the fact of the matter is that the person who is sitting with the majority in Parliament today would be the Jamaica Labour Party government. They would be the ones sitting in Parliament with the highest amount of vote. Therefore, anybody else who has a vote less than the JLP will have to be sitting with the opposition. So that's a legitimate seat placement. And I couldn't see for the life of me how the lady would have come to such conclusion, to the extent where she's defending the PNP's position against George Wright, but it was okay for her to sit with the other two. And that tells you about the level of hypocrisy. Now, this evening, folks, like I said to you earlier, it's open house. So if you guys want to weigh in on any single topic, any topic, it doesn't matter. We'll take it. We'll deal with it. please feel free to give us a call on WhatsApp, 866-0675. That's the number. You can call us on WhatsApp or you can call direct. It doesn't matter. 866-0675, and we can pin that number to the screen so whomever come in can always see it and feel free to participate. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to play a little clip here, folks, from that piece that was done by Irene, that features the Harmony Park Beach in Montego Bay. What a beautiful place. And if you guys have not seen it yet, please put it on your calendar of things to do and come check it out.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right. You have a beautiful morning. All right. Bye-bye. There is a jogging trail, and I must mention that the type of surface they chose doesn't only look good, but it also feels good when running. There is also a multi-purpose court that will be available to everyone once the pandemic is over. The same can be said about the 2 playgrounds that were designed to accommodate families with small children. They will be open as soon as protocols allow, but as you can see, they are ready to be launched any moment. There are several spaces that are available for businesses to rent. The applications with proposals have already been submitted in the beginning of June, and hopefully we will see a few shops and cafes opening in the nearest time. But now, let's see why this park is way more special for Jamaica than it might seem at a first glance. The area where the park is located was previously known as Closed Harbour Beach, or more commonly referred to as Dump-Up Beach. If you wonder what the area looked like in the past, well, far in the past, that area didn't even exist. It was only when Jamaica became independent, a large development took place of reclaiming the land from the sea by dumping sand and rock into the water. Hence the name, Dump-Up Beach. And yes, it's an artificially created beach. Because of that work, Montego Bay waterfront area was significantly increased and the newly created land became the property of the government. But what exactly had to be done with this land to make the most of it? The first time I heard of the plan to create the park was in 2017 during one of the breakfast forums in Montego Bay. The project was presented by UDC, which stands for Urban Development Corporation. They showed the slide shots of the area and even had a 3D model of the proposed park ready. At that time, some people mentioned that the whole project seemed quite unrealistic, since various plans of development of the area had been in place since 1970s, but it's just that they were mostly on paper. So those people were kind of skeptical that anything would actually be done. But as we know, this time it was different. And of course now people are trying to push the political aspect of it, because it was one of the projects made by Jamaican government. Those who support the current government go, see, this party is doing a great job. And those who don't support them go like, see, they're reaping the fruits of the work of the previous government. But of course the reality is way more interesting than that. Jamaica has been rapidly changing in the last 20 years. It's obvious to anyone who pays attention to this crazy growth of infrastructure. And for those who are not aware of what's happening, here are just a few examples. One of the main factors that keeps contributing to these changes is the new Act about funding that was passed by the Parliament in December 2004 and established an organization known as Tourism Enhancement Fund.
Hello, hi.
Let me introduce you to Dr. Kerry Wallace, who kindly agreed to answer a few questions about the exciting subject of money and funding in an exclusive interview to our YouTube channel.
Thank you for joining.
My pleasure. Glad to have you.
According to the official website, the primary funding partner for Harmony Beach Park is Tourism Enhancement Fund. And to be honest, any attentive person would see this logo all over Jamaica. So what is Tourism Enhancement Fund?
So we're an agency in the Ministry of Tourism with the responsibility of enhancing Destination Jamaica. So each year we invest funds into the development of our infrastructure, development of our beaches, our parks, our roads leading to attractions, all that's needed to make our tourism product here in Jamaica that much better each year. And that's our job.
So in simple words, it's a...
Yes, so that's we're gonna come back and play a few more excerpts from that piece there, and I wanted to make sure that you guys go over to Irina Bruce and check out her Facebook page and also her YouTube channel. She's done a body of work, and this piece is just excellent. We're gonna post a link for her page also in the comment section there and pin it so you guys can go over to the YouTube channel and take a look at some of these videos. But this is an excellent piece that she has done on the Harmony Beach Park. Several other videos that she has done before, and a matter of fact, she's working on another project to do some more work as it relates to highlighting stuff from Jamaica. So we're gonna put her link in there so you guys can check it out. But Dump Up Beach, as she called it, as it was known before the renaming, and it's now Harmony Beach Park. An excellent piece for Jamaica. And what was so funny, and I wouldn't say funny, what was interesting about her commentary is that she delved into, you know, how the TEF money is being spent, and she did a really in-depth analysis, and she got answers from the relevant persons. I'm not sure she got to speak to anyone from UDC, but certainly from TEF, and she got a very good understanding of how the money was spent and all that good stuff. She went back into what the beach was like before and what it is like now, and that's very, very interesting. So we applaud her, and you know, she's from Ukraine, an honorary Jamaican. I tell you, when people can look at what we have as Jamaicans and can highlight it in such a positive way, and sometimes we as Jamaicans take for granted what we have to be very, very careful. So her link is in the bio, is in the comment section, guys. We're gonna pin it to the page when we're done, so you guys can get a chance to view some of her work. But excellent work by Irina Bruce. We have a caller. Blessings. Hello. Yes, sir. Welcome. How you doing?
And I'm so happy that you make sure I like this wonderful lady.
Yes.
You know, I will view her work as soon as I have the time. But you know, I have been listening to you and make comments from ever since, you know. And I like the conversation last week with you and MP, right?
Yes.
And to be honest, what Miss Lisa Hanna had said, you know, had said in Parliament the other day that the Speaker must remove the sanitizer bottle and put the MP there. I think that was very
unbecoming,
you know, disrespectful and unbecoming of her, you know.
Yes.
And all the MPs in the house, I'm talking on both sides of the house, you know, they must, you know, have this level of of professionalism in front of the eyes of the people, and so on.
Yes.
Yes, and the major thing what I had wanted to talk about is that last week in Parliament, the Honourable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, he relaxed the COVID measures restriction.
Yes.
To me, say Chopper, I serve on a school executive over here in Spanish Town. That is the Elton High School.
Yes.
Yes, I am the TR1.
Hello?
Students and my parents, they are really non-stop. They said to me, boy, they said to me, Robert, tell the Prime Minister, said, look here, we don't want Jamaica to end up like India.
Right, and Carla, it's. I'm happy you went there because, I think a lot of persons, Jamaica is getting frustrated. It's difficult to have a society locked up for such a long time, and you will expect that persons are going to get a little bit disgruntled, and all these illegal parties are going to prop up because of the frustration of persons. However, there comes a time when Jamaicans will have to take responsibility for their own action. It cannot be left up to a government because we're not running a dictatorship in Jamaica. And I cannot live in a society where government consistently telling me when to wake up, what time to go to bed, when should I go party, when should I get married, when should I bury my family. Enough is going to be enough. So there is going to be a time when the government can do so much and no more. The government responsibility, Carla, is to educate the society about this virus, provide the necessary medicine, make it available, vaccine if it is vaccine, whatever it is, set the protocols over a period of time. But what we have seen is a continuous control of people's lives. People are going to get fed up. No. When the government give people the opportunity to take care of their own self, the onus is going to be on this. Right now, if you ask me, if I were to give the Prime Minister any advice, I would say, Mr. Prime Minister, your focus need to be 100% on securing vaccine for the people. That's where, forget about protocols. Forget about press conference and telling people who must social distance and who must sanitize and who must wear masks. Get vaccine on the ground. Because when vaccine is available on the ground, Carla, and people refuse to be vaccinated, and people refuse to social distance, the onus is going to be on them. I traveled to the United States recently, Carla, and everybody's doing what they want to do. If you don't want to wear a mask, it's on you. It shouldn't be that I must dictate to you, Carla, that, hey, why aren't you not wearing a mask? That's not my business whether you wear a mask or not. It is my responsibility to protect myself and my family in ensuring that my family is vaccinated, my family is practicing social distancing, and doing all the necessaries to protect themselves. If you don't want to do it, Carla, then the onus is on you. Time come for the government to say, look, take your own destiny in your own hand. Because we cannot go for much longer. We're not running a dictatorship.
I totally 100% agree with you, because that is the point I was coming to. You see, is that not even 10% of the population have been vaccinated as yet, and we don't even have vaccines out there for children, right? And to be honest, the citizens, because some of us, Chopper, is like, as what my grandmother would say to me, is like stick broke in some of us ears.
Right.
Right? We don't listen. right? We broke the protocols, and so on. But I will join you, Chopper, in saying to the Prime Minister, just ensure that enough vaccines are here so that before year end and before next year step in, more than half the population being vaccinated. And those people who are talking all these negatives about the vaccine, make I tell you something. If they don't want to go out there and take it, that is their responsibility. What I am happy about is to know that both my family and I, we get our two jobs already, right? And one of the reasons why, especially me, want to take my two jobs is because I want to show the nation something. Say, hey, if everybody do this, we can put this virus under control.
Right.
Right.
You see, Carla, so, we're at a crossroad. We're at a difficult point in Jamaica's life. You see, it comes back to a case of damn if you do, damn if you don't. In the midst of a crisis, a pandemic, a global pandemic, there are public sector organizations that are still clamoring and holding the government to task, for pay increase, At a time when the country's debt to GDP went down from 96, went up from 96% to 112, 114 thereabout. On its way back to 145. I don't know if the Nurses Association, if the Police Federation, if all these public sector teachers association, I don't know if these associations and organizations exist in the same country that I exist in. I don't know if they remember, Carla. I don't know if they remember when the country had a debt to GDP of 148%. I don't know if they remember what used to happen. And we have managed to bring that down to 96.
You see, I try and I speak with some of these public sector workers, and I said to them, look here, hey, remember that Prime Minister Andrew Holness is the first Prime Minister that ever undergo a pandemic.
Ever.
And you see, and despite of the pandemic, he's still all the steering and is driving the economy in the right way. I can tell you, I serve on an executive on a school board, and make I tell you, my school got a lot of funding from the government throughout this pandemic.
Yes.
And there is no doubt about it. The children get their gadgets so that they can work from home and so on. And what I am seeing is that the economy is going under the right track. Prime Minister Andrew Holness and his administration, they are doing an excellent job. But I am wondering what is wrong with our teachers, nurses, doctors, and so on. They must be realistic, man, and face the facts.
Well, Carla, I appreciate your contribution, and you're spot on. I'm hoping that they'll take heed, because it's unfortunate that during a pandemic, when everybody is existing in the same country, and realize that we had, look here, our tourism product, which is one of our major foreign exchange earner, was cut off and shut down for months, for almost a year. I mean, we have not had a single cruise in this country for over a year. Not a single cruise ship docked in any of our piers for over a year. I am wondering to myself if these intelligent people, Nurses Association, Police Federation, Teachers Association, and other public sector entities, if they are living in the same Jamaica and understanding that these things are happening, where the world is going through a global crisis. And with every single individual here must hold strain. I can't see it. I could never believe that somebody be asking today for a wage increase. Where's it gonna come from? Where you expect it to come from?
Where is it going to come from? And if they live in the same Jamaica where I live, it seems like they are living overseas or in some small island far away from us.
Well, I tell you something, Carla. I tell you something. You know, last in 2007, when the Jamaica Labour Party government under Bruce Golding and the finance minister at the time was Audley Shaw. I remember like it was yesterday, that wage negotiation, public sector wage negotiation. And at the time when the wage negotiation was going on, we had a standby agreement with the IMF. And it was because of our bending to facilitate the public sector workers. I think at the time it was the Nurses Association. Edith Allwood Anderson spearheaded that campaign, holding Audley Shaw's feet to the fire about promises he would have made or what she interpreted to be promises on political campaign. And that single act, when the government yielded to her, it derailed the IMF agreement. And need I say more, the rest is history. Carla, we appreciate you. Yeah, man, respect. Cool. Folks, it's no joke. And again, the numbers to call us is 866-0675. It's posted on the chat, so you guys can always feel free to call us and contribute. But we have to be careful. We have to be very, very careful because, you know, we have to be realistic, man. We're living in the same space, the same global space, where what is happening now is not just affecting Jamaica. It's affecting the world. You know, there's significant price increase in Jamaica, another thing that we need to touch on as well. And prices have gone up significantly. There's no sugarcoating it. There's no politicizing it. Prices have gone up and it is going through the roof. And we can play politics with it as much as we want. It's just a reality. A ton of steel a few months ago was about $105,000 or $100,000 thereabout. That is now $160,000 in some places. Went up to as far as $160,000. So it means that there is significant increase in prices. I am not certain if I've heard enough from the government though on these issues. The Commerce Ministry, I think Dr. Dunn is there, and Audley Shaw, the former finance minister, is there as well. I have not heard enough from them as to why. I mean, we cannot take it for granted that the people would know why. It is obvious we are going through a pandemic. China is where a lot of our stuff comes from in terms of manufacturing. China has not been shipping a lot of stuff out because there's a global trade war. What people fail to understand, you know, that there's a trade war between China and the United States, initiated by the Donald Trump administration some time ago. And that trade war has not ended yet. Even if there's some new agreement now with the Biden administration, whatever was initiated by the Trump administration is still active today. So it's going to take a minute before the temperature that was heightened under the Trump administration, it's going to take a while before that temperature is lowered. So what we're seeing now in terms of prices is coming directly from that arrangement that was put in place and initiated by the Trump administration. So we're seeing significant increase in pricing. As a matter of fact, shipping a container out of China now is gone through the roof. So it's very expensive. And as a result, you know, the business people are not absorbing the costs. They are actually passing that on to the consumer. So that's why you're seeing such serious increase. But I would ask that Dr. Dunn and others from the Commerce Ministry come out front and talk to the Jamaican people about these increases, because you hear the chatters, you hear the discussion in various quarters about price increase and how much the dollar and all that stuff. I'm not sure how much can be done right now. If you look at produce, the most I can say to persons that buy more local. It's simple. Buy more local stuff. There are some stuff that we can actually purchase locally and ease the foreign exchange burden. You know, the price of local produce has not gone up much when you make the comparison to what the prices are today. When you make the comparison today to a few years ago, couple years ago, you would see that there's not significant increase in locally manufactured stuff and local produce. I think where we're getting a beating is the stuff that is imported. Lumber, for argument's sake, a sheet of ply, and everybody's accustomed to plywood. The politicians, they must know plywood more than I do, because one of the requests they get on a daily basis is persons asking for zinc sheets and plywood for building assistance. Well, that has gone up by about 60-70%. You could get a sheet of ply a year or so ago for about $3,000. I bought a couple sheets of ply sometime back in Jamaica, and I paid about $3,500. Well, that $3,500 couldn't get me a half a sheet now. It's about $7,000 per sheet. So you're looking at over about 60% increase. And these are significant because this take a toll on construction, you know. But surprising though, I tell you what, during this pandemic, one would have never thought that you would have seen so much construction taking place. Anthony, evening, good to see you, my brother. One would never ever thought. I mean, every walk in Jamaica, every ride you take, there is some serious construction going on. So infrastructure development is ongoing. I think when you watch the interview that was done with the TEF boss, one of the things that Irene was able to get out of him was the fact that there was a deliberate attempt to keep the construction industry open irrespective of COVID, because the truth is we cannot stay locked down for much longer, and we couldn't have closed this down like a sardine tin, for lack of a better term. We couldn't close it anymore. I think the government would have done exceptionally well in managing the crisis. And I think it's now time for the government to focus its energy, like I said before, on getting vaccine and allowing the Jamaican people to make their own decision, to decide for themselves. I think the most vulnerable among us in another few weeks will be fully vaccinated. And once that is out the way, then it's going to be you're on your own. Because it cannot be that there are persons out there who are reluctant to be vaccinated, They're anti-vaccine. They don't want to participate in that program, none at all. But when they get sick, it is our responsibility. It shouldn't be. It should not be. So that's what I'm saying. If the government put in place and make available adequate amount of vaccine, and the take-up rate is still low, persons refuse to take it and then become ill. It's unfortunate, but the onus is on you. Onus is on you. The onus is on you. So, and I don't think we can get any worse than we've had before, because what persons are not calculating, and I don't think the health officials are talking about this, you know, there's not enough information as to whether or not when you have caught the disease, the virus once, if it is that you would have developed immunity, is catching the virus enough immunity to keep you safe as much as it is to be vaccinated? That is something that we perhaps need some clarity and we should ask about. Because if that's the case, then we should calculate the amount of persons who have caught COVID, add that to the persons who have been vaccinated, and your number, your percentage will go up significantly. Because right now we are calculating only the persons who have been vaccinated. And that percent is running very, very low. I don't think it's probably about 10%. Very low. But if you add to that the vaccinated population, if you add to that the persons who have caught COVID before, then you would have been on to something, you know. You perhaps would have been about 30%. If 10% is what is being vaccinated now, by way of administering a jab, when you add to that the amount of persons who have caught COVID, and you could classify that as being vaccinated, then your numbers is going to look pretty good. So I think that is something that we need to get some clarity from one of the health professionals, Dr. Tufton, or the chief medical officer, whomever else that can provide us with some clarity where that is concerned. Why is it that we're not calculating the persons who have caught COVID and add that to the persons who have been vaccinated? Wouldn't that give us a different percentage as it relates to herd immunity? That's a question I think that is worth asking. So another caller. Caller, blessings. Blessings, sir. How are you doing? You have a whole heap of noise in your background. You have to turn that down somewhat. Here, please.
Talking from Southeast St. Mary, that's another one done.
Southeast St. Mary, welcome, sir. Turn down the noise in the background so we can hear you clearly here. You have a feedback in the background, sir. So you have to turn that off, okay?
Yeah, we turn it off. We come better now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, calling from Southeast St. Mary, Dr. Norman Dunn.
Blessings.
Hard-working MP, you man is our counselor. Yes, man, I always watch your program, man, and I tell us, it's very inspiring. You understand? I learn a lot.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Just coming like Cliff Hughes. There's a Cliff Hughes and Chopper Chop.
No, sir, you can't compare me to Cliff Hughes. Cliff Hughes is an award-winning. Listen.
What I mean, Cliff Hughes is the head one, you know, the boss in learning.
Cliff Hughes is an award-winning journalist. I am just a social media loudmouth.
Yeah, man, but you're alright, man. Everything good, man. Yes, I see the PMP them calling for election. Saying election is in the year.
Why not?
Yes, man. I watch TV, news, and see this evening, man.
Oh, so they want the local government elections?
Yes.
Oh.
They go full leader.
No, we can't call them it. No, hold on 1 second, caller. Stick up in there.
Yeah.
We're not going to call the leader of the opposition idiot. Matter of fact, we're not going to call anybody at all idiot on this program. We're going to be respectful of our commentary, you know. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. So what I am saying,
yes.
We can't understand them a call for election and then unite. This them on social media, them pull rape, so them unite. You know what kind of circle business that them are wearing, crown business. Then take Jamaican people with fool. When they want to fool again. You understand? Yes.
What do you mean rope? What type of rope you talking about? What is it on Facebook?
The whole of them, when they see them are unite, see them draw them one another. If you don't understand what that means, must if you want to get more strength and gain no more strength, me don't know. And just unite, them are unite. And then the leader of the opposition, this evening, they're going to talk about this government fail for hunger crime, be a woman are dead, and about this song of broke put out. Something wrong with this man here, you know. Something wrong with him. You don't understand still. That's why they don't want him in the party.
I can't testify. What do you mean they don't want him in the party? Yes, sir.
You're not ready yet, man. You're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. You're not ready yet for leader opposition.
But why would you classify? Why would you, Carla? Why would you classify the opposition's team building effort as a rope pulling exercise?
I don't know, but Shopper Job, when I see on Facebook or somebody tell me to go on Facebook and I see them a draw them one another, I don't know. No, they not say unity and say they're ready, they unite.
Well, probably the JLP need to do the same thing if they want to win the next local government election. What do you think?
Well, so far Chopper Job, me not say JLP now look ups and down, but right now, me not hear none right now. We unite and we're ready to take it to them full 100.
Why do you think so? Why do you think so? You think the JLP can win the next local government with the current affair, with what's happening now?
Yes, I have a strong belief that we are coming through same way chop.
Why? Give me a reason why. You can't just win without a reason. Give me a reason why. What's the reason?
I'll make you one reason.
Yes, sir.
What is taking place in the country now?
Yes.
What I go around and see.
Yes.
Development, the construction, although the pandemic is taking place. Very bad development is taking place in Jamaica. First, so much construction is taking place in Jamaica.
But you can't say that the PNP said they are the master of houses. They have built the most house in Jamaica. So how come?
Well, Chopper Job, me nah listen to PNP. What am I say? Because
but the PNP said prices are out of control, and steel and plywood is expensive, and people are frustrated. How are they going to win with all of that?
Okay, so what do you think then?
Huh?
Is Andrew raising up the thing them?
If I think so?
Yeah.
No, I don't think Andrew is. I don't know if what you think. You think it's Andrew raising up the prices?
No, it is a global thing. It is a global thing, and the whole world is going through a pandemic right now.
No, but Carla, the opposition says Andrew raising the things.
That is what they want to say. They can say they're using their political thing, gimmicks, to try to explore political points.
Then why you don't think it's Andrew raising up the prices? What? It's a Tom drunk, but Tom no fool?
Yes, it's not everybody in Jamaica fool, sir. No, it's not everybody in Jamaica fool. That is what they are always going around and always talk about this PMP country. That not there anymore again.
Oh.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you don't know.
So what changed?
Yeah?
What changed?
Them always say anything the PMP president can do in this country and get away with it and take Jamaican people for granted.
So you don't think the PNP can win, but they can win the local government?
Chopper,
Yes, sir.
let me tell you something. Everywhere me go on the ground,
Yes.
and I get the feedback.
What's the feedback?
The feedback what I am getting, although the pandemic is taking place,
Yes.
right now, they planning to give back Andrew another term in the local government election.
All right.
What I go on the ground and picking up.
All right, Mr. Caller.
It is work to this thing, not a bag of mouth.
All right, sir.
Action.
The world is hearing you. The world is listening, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your call.
Have a good night, Chopper.
You too. Thanks much.
I like the program.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And I wanted to come to Turkey, send me all the time, man.
I will, man. I will. Very soon.
The the government open up the country to call local. That is what they're
Oh, I didn't know that. I will have to get somebody from the government to tell us. Well, your ears is closer to the ground than mine. But thank you, caller. We appreciate you. You too, sir. All right, so the caller said, the caller said, the man them said them call them open up the country because they want to call a local government election. Well, look here. I don't know what to say, you know. I'm just here to facilitate the discussions. I have no I have no horse in that particular race right there. I am just a mere facilitator. The numbers to call us 866-0675. That's 1-876-866-0675. Feel free. Anthony, big up yourself. Patrice Seal, hands down. The councillors have nothing to worry about. Okay. But I don't agree with you on that. What do you mean they don't have anything to worry about? I don't see any councillors campaigning. I don't see any councillors campaigning, you know. I don't see any councillors campaigning. So it seems to me that they're either one of two things. It's either that they give up or they're perhaps so confident that they don't have to campaign. I don't know which it is, but when we come back, we're gonna talk about it some more. But let's take a quick break and we come right back. We will talk about why I believe that there might be some pressure in this local government election. When we come back, I'm going to tell you why I believe that this local government election might not go according to plan. Stick and stay. We'll be right back.
My name is Noel Chang. I'm a constable attached to the Mobile Reserve Division and the JCF SWAT team. I've been a member of this team for 2 fulfilling years. The training, of course, would have helped me to grow as well. I find it to be very fulfilling playing an active role in the crime fight and in developing my nation. Join the JCF and start a career.
All right, so welcome back, folks. Thank you for sticking and staying with us. We are live on our YouTube channel, Chops Media. And for those of you who have logged on, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and to press that notification bell so that you can be notified. Peter Thomas, good to see you. So that you can be notified when we go live or when we post a video. For the folks who are on Facebook, we're not live on Facebook at the moment. So we're asking persons who can share the link to your Facebook page and invite your friends to come over and join us here on the YouTube channel. So before we go to the break, I made mention that the local government election might not go according to plan. And all other persons are now locked and loaded, ready to hear why and how come. Why would I make such a pronouncement? Well, let me tell you, politics is not one-sided in Jamaica. And I am going to remind persons of the People's National Party run Jamaica for 18 and a half consecutive years, from 1989 until 2007, unbroken. And at that time, I think that's where the name came out, where it was dubbed PNP country. Because no one would have expected that spell or that could have been broken. But it did. It did. And we can attribute that to several stuff. We could attribute it to several stuff. Now, what I think persons must be reminded of is that at some point, something will give. And if the People's National Party is of the view that there's absolutely no hope for them to go back to Jamaica House, then they would have packed up and lock up shop and go. Dismantle the political movement and be done with it. But because they know that at some point, whenever, I don't know when, might not be in my lifetime, I don't know when, but one have to be mindful that that it's going to happen. Bridget, you have to face reality, my dear. Whether you want to like it or not, it's a reality that we have to face. And that is why it is important. It is important for whomever holds the reins of power. They have a responsibility to prove their worth to the people. It's not to anybody else. It's to the people. Because if you do right by the people will reward you. If you spend 20 years in office and you have nothing to show, you know, there are several members of parliament out there now. Some would have lost their seat in the last election that have not contributed nothing to this country. Absolutely zero. They would have presided over a government and presided over a country at a time when the global economy was growing by 10 and 15%. And Jamaica was pedaling backward. Yeah. So don't get too comfortable. I think what we should be focused on is to continue to do the work for the people. Work for the people. Do what is necessary to ensure that the people that you serve is happy. They are comfortable. There are no complaints. And when I said no complaints, it's almost impossible for you to have absolutely no complaint. You'll have complaint, but don't get complacent. You know, the councillors, the local government election is what is next in line, is next due. We don't know when, because the government could certainly go back to parliament now and have an extension for whomever, I don't know. The constitution and the amendments to the constitution can be done by the ruling party. They have enough vote. Plus, according to the People's National Party, they have an independent member who is more likely to caucus with the JLP. That is why they found it so disturbing to have George Wright sitting there. But I'm going to go back again, folks, to another clip from Harmony Beach Park. And in this clip, I think the producer of the documentary, the video, would have been Irene Bruce, who is talking with the director of TEF, and that's a Tourism Enhancement Fund, who was one of the major sponsors of that park. Now, for those of you who don't know, the TEF is a tariff that is levied against tourists coming into the country. So remember, years ago, you used to have what is called a departure tax, where every guest that leaves Jamaica would be required to pay a departure tax. Well, this is an arrival tax. So every guest that comes into the island as a tourist will pay, I think, $20 for hotel stays for persons who are coming in to stay at a hotel. And I think it's something like $4 or $6 for persons who are coming in on a cruise. So that's the money that goes into the consolidated fund. And then from that funding, part of it is allocated back out to TEF. TEF then use that to sort of beautify and enhance, as it is said, enhance the tourism product. And that we can attest to that this was an excellent idea, came about in 2007 again, and it is carried out today. A nice chunk of money, but money that is managed properly and that is put to use to enhance Jamaica's tourism product. So the more we enhance the product, the more arrivals we have, the more money we collect. So it's a win-win for everybody. So let's take a break. Let's watch this together, and we'll come right back on the back end of it. Stand by.
And that's our job.
So in simple words, it's like a government organization that takes money that Jamaica earns from tourism and invests it into Jamaica, or
pretty much. When we were formed, our act was designed that way, where we could actually charge a fee to every passenger coming into Jamaica. So airline passengers would pay $20 and cruise passengers would pay $2.
When I was looking through the list of projects that are fully or partially financed by TEF, I noticed that some of them were indeed directed at tourism, like Montego Bay welcome sign that was recently built. Yeah. But I noticed there are some projects that are not related to tourism whatsoever, like the Negril Fire Station or Sheriff's Post Office. So why does Tourism Enhancement Fund invest money into projects that are not related to tourism?
Well, it's hard to say what is not related to tourism. If you think about the appeal of a resort town in general, I mean, safety and security, let's take the fire station. In a resort town impacts tourism. I mean, who wants to travel to a destination where they're at risk should there be a fire or should they get sick so we consider all those factors in what makes a resort town an outstanding one and a safe one. We approach our projects like that to make sure that all the amenities are available in the resort towns and beyond. I mean, we have to consider that the entire Jamaica is a destination, and so we look at the merit of each project when it comes to our board to see how it can have a huge impact, good value for money in developing Jamaica as a destination.
I saw some comments in the internet after grand opening of Harmony Beach Park. Let me quote one, right? A good use of taxpayers' money. Finally, the taxes Jamaicans pay give them a good park to use in return. However, if I understand it right, this particular funding comes from taxes tourists pay, not from taxes Jamaicans pay.
Well, okay, so we collect the cruise and airline fees on behalf of central government, the TEF, and that then goes into the pool of the public's funds, which includes other taxes that come directly from the locals. Mm-hmm. So in general, it's the public's funds. And we operate with that in the back of our minds, that we have to be prudent in the way we spend the public's funds, and we have to ensure there's return on investment. Our return on investment really is improvement of Destination Jamaica to the point where our arrival numbers increase. And so there are more passengers coming to Jamaica, so therefore they pay more fees. And that's how we have a return on our investment here at the TEF.
So, but in the end, though, the money that the tourists pay when they arrive, these are the kind of taxes, like the arrival tax is called, what do you call this?
It is called the TEF fees, and it's itemized on.
In the
right, exactly.
Right, and then it goes to the like the pool in general. And until 2017, that was directly what was financing you, is it?
Exactly. It was coming straight to us, and we would have the accounts and so on. What we didn't use, we would have on investment accounts. But in the government's wisdom, they thought it was better management and better cash flow if it came into the consult fund. And then for our annual budget, we then send that into them for what we call warrants each month of monies coming from the consult fund for us to execute our projects.
The lack of funds is usually one of the most important reasons why projects don't get completed. But of course, money would mean nothing without proper management and the actual construction work. The project was designed and is currently managed by a company I mentioned earlier, Urban Development Corporation. You might have never heard of UDC, but the chances are you have used their services, even if you're a tourist coming to Jamaica for just a few days. Now I'm showing you the footage of the world-famous attraction and Jamaica's national treasure, Dunn's River Falls. And if you're wondering how's that relevant, well, Dunn's River Falls are a project run by UDC. Green Grotto Caves and Reach Falls are two other examples of attractions that also belong to UDC. But the company doesn't just focus on tourist sites. UDC has a portfolio of all sorts of projects spanning different sectors and parishes.
All right, so that's another clip. We're gonna be posting the entire video on the page, and we're also encouraging you guys to go over to Irene's page. The link is in the comment section there for you guys to go over there and check out her work. But that's an excellent piece featuring the Harmony Beach Park. And for those of you who have not had a chance to go down there and check it out, please, 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 please make some time. Put it on your calendar of things to do, because it's a beautiful park, and it's when I tell you it's first world standard, I'm talking about first world standard. You know, she mentioned the sign, the Welcome to Montego Bay sign that was built from funds coming out of TEF. That is one project that I will never, ever, ever, ever be proud of, because I think it was just unfortunate. $17 million was just not what we wanted. Greetings. We have another caller. Caller, blessings. Blessings. Hello? All right, we have a caller, but we seem to have a bad connection there. But yeah, so that project to me was not impressive. And I'll tell you why I said that. When you look at $17 million, you see what we spent there on $10 million US on the Harmony Beach Park. I've always said, you know, when we are doing projects in Jamaica, we must do projects that will last for decades. Harmony Beach Park is one such project that is going to be here for many, many years to come. And it seemed to me like they have gone. I was at the launch and the opening, and I remember the chairman of TEF, the Honorable Godfrey Dyer, a man who has contributed significant amount of energy and time and expertise and money into the tourism sector over the years, a major player. And Godfrey Dyer, in his speech at the opening, ask that a proper system of maintenance is put in place. Matter of fact, he went as far as asking the Prime Minister to look into having the National Housing Trust take on the responsibility of footing the cost to maintain the park. And that would have been similar to what takes place in Kingston at Emancipation Park, where a proper maintenance system is in place and that is being paid for by the National Housing Trust. So I think what Godfrey Dyer was asking for is that the same thing be done for Montego Bay, and I certainly believe that that's a decent ask. I don't believe that is way out of the box. I think because it makes no sense to spend millions of US dollars to build this place and have it run down. But based on what we have seen so far, there is adequate security, the place is well kept, and as long as that is maintained, it's going to be there for a long while. Carla, welcome. Blessings. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm very well, sir. Thank you. Where you calling from? Name and where you calling from?
Joshua, man. I'm calling from Spanish Town.
Blessings, Joshua. How you do? Welcome.
Well, I listened to you, and you made a statement, but I think at the end of it, it needs a little qualification.
Yes, I left a little bit there, huh?
Right.
All right.
You mentioned about the park that was built, Harmony Beach Park, and you said you have no doubt that it will last for decades.
Yes.
And under normal circumstances, I would agree with you.
Yes.
However, I think the qualification that needed at the end to say, providing that the Jamaica Labour Party remains in power and that the president does not do what they did before. Those are the qualifications.
I would narrow it down to the Jamaica Labour Party in power, you know. I would narrow it down to a proper system of maintenance, irrespective of who is in power.
Right.
So whether the GLP or the PNP, whomever runs the government, if they put a system of maintenance in place where the place is maintained properly, it should last under either government.
All right, let me tell you, I agree with that, but let me tell you why I do that.
Yes.
St. William's Grand Park was the premier park for many years.
Oh yes, downtown Kingston, man. Yes, sir.
I remember my youthful days in my teenage years when that was the place to meet girls. You know, you're a countryman, so you no disrespect, so you're probably not aware that that was the lovers' park.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right. Then when Harpatry Park was built, so it was smaller, you served St. William's Grand Park, even though St. William's was still being used.
You're talking about where Mandela Park is now, right?
Right.
Yes.
It had a fountain right beside the clock with light under the bottom of the fountain.
Yes.
You know, and lo and behold came the season.
Oh boy.
Right. When David Broken years came in, what they did, they turned the dust bowl beside NHD, which was a good thing.
Yes.
Into a magnificent park.
Yes.
So, as tribal as I may be sometimes, I want to give credit where it is due.
Yes.
Right? And it was a magnificent park and place. What they did though is that, and I don't think that a lot of persons realize that simultaneously what they started doing was leaving St. William's Grand Park and the Mandela Park unattended to. In fact, the first thing they did was condemn the fountain and got rid of the fountain altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And then the system of maintenance that used to be used in the Mandela Park was no longer in place. And then they allowed the St. William's Grand Park to be run down. They had a minimal amount of maintenance going on both places, which was really the cleaning of the bathroom and the painting of the park. But apart from that, nothing else.
Yes.
And so this is my concern primarily in relation, you know.
Speak up a little closer if I may, caller. You're going on a little low there.
All right, let me change my location because the at times where I can be a bit picky.
Yes. Sounding a little bit better now. Yes.
Right. Yes, and by and large, that's my bone of concern. You know, I have seen for years, and this is something that the JLP has successfully done. Whenever they're in power, anything that the JLP has put in place, they make sure that they find a way to tear it down, because the narrative which is being put forward at all times is that the JLP is something such as.
Yes.
And anything that is going to go against that narrative, then find a way to destroy.
But do you think that we have moved past that now, Carla? I think the current administration would have set now a new precedence, because a significant amount of the projects came on stream under the JLP, the current JLP administration, were projects that were initiated by the PNP. So would you not think now that there's a new precedent set?
There has been a new precedent which has been set, but it has always been done by the JLP. Let us go back to the 80s.
Yes.
I can't remember the exact project, but whatever the PNP started, and once it was a work or noteworthy, Mr. Piazza continued. Anything that could have been continued, even though there was really nothing.
I was about to say to you, I can't think of any major project that was a continuation from.
Right, but when Bruce came in 07, and it pains me now, and I don't like speaking about it, but we noticed that he continued, and he did say it up front, that anything that is there to be continued, he would, right? When the PNP came in, whatever they may have chosen to continue, it was very, very little that they chose to continue. First thing that they did was took away the credit from the JL and claim it as their own, right? And this is how they have the
That's not new. That's the 60s politics and 50s.
Right. And so the reason I raised this point, because PNP has never been one, two things. One, to give credit to the JLP for anything. You name one thing that they have ever given credit to the JLP. I can't think of any immediately. And two, if they're at odds, they pains them to continue any project for the that the JLP has started. And even if they did, what they do, they rename it and claim it as their own.
Yes.
So in spite of the precedent that has been set, one of the things that the PNP cannot be trusted is the management and stewardship of this country, and two, to give credit where it is due. Right? And once it is anything that has to do with once it is the JLP that has started it, the only thing that they could destroy, and in essence what they have done, they have taken away the foundational purpose, and that is hard trust. They can't do anything to hard trust.
Well, you cannot say that, because, Carla, you have to be careful now, because remember, Heart Trust name was changed, to Heart NTA.
Right.
You remember that? You remember? And let me back you up a little bit, and let me provide a little bit of substance, well, a little additional substance to what you just said. There's several projects that were initiated back in the 70s, and I'm going to go down a little political route here now, Carla, and viewers. In the 1960s, under Hugh Lawson Shearer, there were several initiatives that were implemented, conceptualized under the JLP, and when the Michael Manley administration came in 1972, they would have changed a lot of those. Let me give you an example. You remember that song done by Hugh Martin?
Yeah.
That was called My Leader Barnia?
Yeah.
Well, that song acted as a manifesto for the JLP back in the 1976 election. Because the PNP, it acted as a manifesto for the PNP during the 1976 election. In that particular song, they would have outlined a whole raft of initiatives that they took credit for. And until today, a lot of Jamaicans are still of the view that those initiatives were conceptualized and implemented by the People's National Party. Initiatives like, for example, Carla, no bastard, not there again. The Bastardy Act. You remember that? Well, if you were to ask Jamaicans out there now, 9 out of 10 Jamaicans will tell you that that argument about no bastard, not there again, which talks about the amendments of the Bastardy Act. Every Jamaicans and 9 out of 10 will tell you that that is a Michael Manley initiative. But that's not so. It's not true. Because the Bastardy Act came about under the former JLP leader and founder, Sir Alexander Bustamante. You remember Jamal?
Of course.
Jamal, the acronym you could give credit to the PNP for. But the idea of the literacy program came from 1967. Right. Under the current at the time, under the leadership of the former education minister, what's his name? Edwin Allen. Right. So I'm saying this to say, and I could go on with that with several more initiatives that were taken over by the PNP, name change, and they assume responsibility for the initiation and implementation. I had a long discussion with Cliff Hughes some time ago when we had that song Ripped to Threads and explained to the Jamaican people that a significant amount of those initiatives were under the JLP. So what you're saying, Carla, you are spot on. You're spot on. You remember Jam Pro?
Of course.
Jamaica.
National Investment Promotion.
Yes. You know that they had changed it?
To Jamaica Promotion.
No. They had changed it to Jamaica Trade and Invest.
Right.
So that you remember a popular, you remember Carnival Festival song?
Of course.
Did you know that that was changed to Jamaica Popular Song?
Of course, I'm aware.
I'm just telling you, and I'm just adding to what you're saying, Carla. This is a serious problem.
And I'm actually happy that you're an educated Jamaican, because what I found out is that a large majority, including those who are of the opposition, the opposition, they are in opposition to the PNP.
Yes.
So they are not supporters of the PNP. When you talk to them, one of the things that they say to me, boy, even though Michael Manley might have had some bad people around him, he himself was a good man, and then they started giving paternity to things that Michael Manley himself don't even know about.
Right.
Now, when I have conversations with them now, I have to be correcting the misnomers.
You have to.
It is not.
You have to. Because they're of the view that a lot of these initiatives, I tell you, that particular song, my friend, was used as a manifesto. That song was one of the most popular election campaign songs. You know that? You ever hear in the song the part where them say, we juke them with land lease?
Right.
You know what that means?
They are the ones who primarily look out for the poor.
And that is not true. They're saying that they are the one who initiated the land lease program.
Right.
And I'm saying to them that's not true. Because the first land lease program was implemented in Hanover by Edward Philip George Siaga.
Right.
The government bought up a whole heap of land down there and leased it back to people. So that whole idea about giving land back to the people was initiated by Edward Siaga. So you see, we have a responsibility, Carla. At that time, it was called the Land Utilization Commission, right? That was the original draft documents. So the idea about returning land to the people was never a PNP or a Michael Mann initiative. It was done by Edward Philip George Siaga. And I'm happy you bring me there,
I'm glad that you have so much knowledge
No, you don't have to, because I tell you it is here, you know. On November 8th, 1969, was when the Bastardy Act tabled, you know. And if you remember right, in 1969, who formed the government then? Well, I don't know about being the best party, sir. I am just a mere commentator here.
Well, I will say, sir, your job is to put the facts out.
I can only put the facts out there. That the Bastardy Act was tabled on November 8th, 1969. And if you and I are correct, that 1969, it was the Jamaica Labour Party government that was in office, it means, obviously, that it would have been the Jamaica Labour Party initiated the Bastardy Act, right?
But Chopper, just a moment.
Yes.
Even though I frivolously stated it a while ago about need to bet price, some statements that are made are grounded in truth.
Yes.
Whether it is done frivolously or otherwise. And my reason for coming to this conclusion, and let me just give a 30-second background, because
yes.
I grew up in a predominantly PNP family and a PNP community.
Yes.
But I saw something, and I'm not telling you what I heard. I saw something in leading up to the 1976 election that, as a young boy, changed my mind from the People's National Party. I was in flankers in Montego Bay, and I hope somebody in flanker is listening to me. I was in flanker in Montego Bay, and Michael Manley, which was then my God.
Yes.
You hear what I said?
Yes, sir.
My God on earth.
Yes, sir.
Right. Came to flankers all his school, and he was shaking hands, and I shook his hand that day. I can tell you I've never felt any hand that soft in my life.
Yes.
And the convoy of trucks that came with men jumped off the truck and chopped off a man's leg right in front of Michael Manley, somebody who they don't even know. And Michael Manley did not say anything about it. He did not do anything to stop it. And that changed my mind from that day.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Carla, let me tell you. Let me tell you something, man. You see, sometimes, there are some simple things. There are very simple things in life sometimes that can be, it's the little things that makes a big difference. Right. And I've always lived by that mantra. It's the little things that makes a big difference. You remember that song again? I tell you, I'm going back to the song, I'm not leaving this song here. Yeah, and since you bring me there, I go and tear it to pieces again. The song says, we juke them with the Pioneer Corps. No, remember, folks. That Pioneer Corps we're talking about was, and you mentioned it earlier, Carla, where you talk about the whole changing of names. That Pioneer Corps is a name change. That's all it is. It's just a mere name change. Because the original youth program was a national youth service program, again spearheaded in 1967 by a little man born in Boston and came to Jamaica as a little baby boy. In his wisdom, changed his nationality and became a Jamaican. A little man they call Edward Philip George Siaga. Some call him Wandan. That was his initiative, the youth service program,
Don't forget the Jamaicanization program, you need to tell them about it.
Yes, man. Yes, man. Let me tell you something, man. You see, Jamal, 1974 was when the name changed, because it was always the adult literacy program. And that's a pilot program piloted by the same Edwin Allen, A lot of Jamaicans don't know about Edwin Allen, Let me tell you, a lot of Jamaicans who are attending primary school today and secondary school today must give thanks and pay homage to people like Edwin Allen, because it was under his watch. It was his initiative. and under the prime ministership of Hugh Lawson Shearer that we built 128 primary school and 54 high school, secondary school, which is now comprehensive high schools. It's the largest build out of schools in the history of this country, my brethren. Never seen again, Yes.
Based on what you have said,
Yes.
What would you say to those persons who say that the PNP is the one that is more interested in educating the Jamaican people than the JLP? Based on the argument that you put forward.
Of course, the PNP do a better job at educating the people. Hands down. Hands down. The PNP over the years would have done 10 times better than the JLP in educating the people. Of course.
We have to quantify that.
Well. Huh?
We have to qualify that because it's so much schools were built.
Yes.
Then are you referring to numbers or are you referring to the effort by which they put into educating the people whom they want to?
You have to remember the foundation on which such political movement was found, You have to remember that. And when you're seeking qualification on that argument or you're seeking clarification on that argument, you must be mindful of the foundation on which such political movement was founded. Information, dissemination of information is one of the key characteristics of that movement. The GLP, let me just put it out there. The GLP of the 1960s, 70s, 80s, right? Listen to me, caller. The GLP of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Well, 90s, yes. Would not have done a very good job as it relates to educating the society, And when I say educating the society, I'm not talking about providing the infrastructure for education. I'm talking about educating people on what it is that they have contributed to this country. The PNP would have done a better job.
So you're saying that the political education...
It doesn't have to be politics. It doesn't have to be politics. If an administration build 128 schools and 54 secondary schools, and you make it a duty to remind people of that significant effort, that's not politicizing anything. That's speaking facts, that's educating your people. If it is that you are the initiator of all of what we just went through a while ago, and you refuse to tell the Jamaican people that you did it, you are the initiator, and you sat around and allow somebody else to take the credit from you, then you wouldn't be a good educator. You wouldn't be the best person to educate the society. You have to give credit to the man who can take away your idea and sell it as his. You have to give him credit.
But Chapo, I want to challenge you a bit right here. But when I say challenge you, it's really to pick your brain. I was listening to an interview done by Deon Jackson of Cliff Hugh the other day.
Yes.
It was almost 2 hours long. I listened the first almost hour. And one of the things Cliff Hughes was appealed to find out was that when he was employed at JBC,
yes,
right, one of his first duties, as he was informed by his managing director,
yes,
was how do you, because he was now being employed in a senior position, and he said his senior director said to him, and I'm just paraphrasing, if he can find a way to depoliticize JBC, because everybody who was anybody at JBC was part of the People's National Party and spoke on behalf of the People's National Party. And so now you understand the difficulty that the JLP had in trying to get a message up.
Yes.
Because every newsroom that there is was etc.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I hear people with the argument, if the JLP did such a good job, how come we don't know about it?
Well,
we don't know about it because the PNP had their people in the right places in order to send out the information. And in a sense, I have to agree with you because the PNP was able to put their people in the right place, but the JLP was never able to do it. And by the way, that's a strategy that all communist governments have done over the years.
Absolutely. I told you about the foundation on which the movement was found. And that is what I'm speaking to. Now, right. The JLP cannot expect to reap what they didn't sow. If you know what I mean. They cannot afford and they should not expect to plant corn and reap peas. So, Carla, if back in the 60s and 70s and 80s when the JLP had a long 2-term in the 1980s under Eddie Seaga, and they had a term back in the 60s, 2-term. And if during that time they were busy building out 128 schools, building out all the water systems in Jamaica, building out in the 1980s over 180 institutions that still stands today under Eddie Seaga in the 1980s. So if Edward Seaga was busy back in the 80s building out the institutions that would today help to carve Jamaica and kept us on a level playing field, they were busy doing all that, but they weren't paying any attention in putting people in positions to carry out the mandate. That was a problem. So what they were expecting is that Mike and Manley would have sent persons to Cuba to train, some 1,600 of them, telling the Jamaican people that they were going there to learn construction, but they instead went there to learn how to fire guns. And the skills to fire guns and create mayhem, they learned from that administration. Now, when they come back to Jamaica, are you expecting that they're going to act on behalf of the JLP? No. Well, it's the same thing. Carrimack, the school that produced journalists in Jamaica. How many are the persons who went there during the era of the Cliff Hughes and the Faye Ellingtons and all of those persons? How many of those persons were financed through the JLP back in the 80s? How many? How many doctors have the JLP sponsored to college to get their doctorate? Why is it that you would have a significant amount of the Junior Doctors Association presidents being affiliated with the People's National Party? Because the People's National Party would have invested significantly in those persons, sending them to school, and as such, they would have remained loyal. So if the JLP didn't sow any seed where doctors are concerned, they can't reap. If they didn't sow any seeds where journalists are concerned, they can't reap. If they didn't send any teachers to college, they can't expect to get presidents coming out of the Teachers Association affiliated with the JLP. So if you plant corn, you cannot get peas, Carla.
I agree with you, sir. And if I may even go a bit further.
Yes.
In addition to educating these doctors, and I want to revisit the bigger distance for a moment because there's something that you omitted.
Yes.
Right? In addition to educating these doctors and these persons, what we failed to do also, and I think we touched on it a bit, was that we did not put the persons who would have carried out the mandate of the government. Because if you have something to do, you will then have to find persons who are, I would not want to use the word sympathetic, but those who would be, if you're in a workplace, let us use the work environment.
Yes.
And you have a staff that is constantly at
Well, Carla, you're spot on, you know. You are spot on because you cannot, there's no way that negative and positive doesn't work together. So, in other words, and I'll give you one typical example. There's no way you can have a policymaker who is going down the path of austerity, right? So you are going prosperity and one is going austerity. So you are implementing programs of reducing and cutting and holding back and not spending, while the other is pursuing spending on the economy to grow the economy. The two just doesn't work together. Right. And if they're not running parallel, if they're not running together, then you're going to have a problem. I think that was part of the Jamaica Labour Party's problem back in 2007.
Right. When we decide to keep persons, they decide to keep persons who were not faithful to the policies of the Jamaica Labour Party.
Right. And I'm not saying that you ought to be a yes man, you know, because it's not every policy that the JLP implement that is perfect.
No.
But it is hard for you to have persons who are not going down the line that you are going down and they're not seeing eye to eye with your policy. Then there's something's going to be off. So,
and then might even seek to sabotage it.
Exactly.
Right.
But Carla, you dragged me down a path there where I didn't come prepared to go down there. But when you come to that level, I have to put it on record.
Well, as I said before, I'm glad that you were educated enough to continue because the Jamaican people need to know the truth. And just to touch back on the Brigadista issue.
Yes.
The reason the Brigadista was formed in Cuba was because of a very unique situation, because of the Cold War between the United States and the USSR at the time.
Yes.
And so every man in Cuba must be able, when called upon, because Cuba was always expected to be attacked by the United States because they were on the side of USSR.
Yes.
And so they made sure that every jackman over the age of 17 years old would be able to fire weapons and have paramilitary training.
Yes.
Now, the police in Jamaica, under the leadership of the then Prime Minister, Michael Manley, decided to train Brigadistas to come back to Jamaica, a country that was never at war with anybody to the Russians or the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And they choose to send those nearly 2,000 persons to go and have paramilitary training. It can only be for one reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spoken to members of the People's National Party who were good friends of mine, some of them I know Christians, and they decided to contest.
Yes.
Their aim was to try and not only overthrow anything JLP in Jamaica, but their aim, they wanted to lock down the churches and turn them in factories.
Mm-hmm. Remember, Carla, that I interviewed a gentleman on this program. Have you ever read the book Road Not Taken?
I have heard of it, but I've never read it.
I'll send you a copy of it. The Road Not Taken. The gentleman is now living in Edmonton, Canada. He was a part of the Brigadista program. Excuse me. And he spoke extensively on this program about the intricacies of that program. So when I speak to people and I tell people what happened there, I'm not speaking from some rum bar conversation. My information is coming from somebody who participated in the program. And he spoke about it. Carla, much respect. We appreciate the link.
Thanks, sir.
And we'll definitely do it again. Yeah, man. Yes, folks. So we went down a road there that we haven't gone down in a long while. But sometimes we have to go down that road and sort of remind people that the politics sometimes in Jamaica can be a little dicey. It can be a little dicey, and as such, we have to point it out to people. But you cannot expect to reap what you never sow. Why I say that, I'm just saying that to say that the Jamaica, and I think the Jamaica Labour Party agrees, because you would have seen where there was a deliberate effort on the part of the ruling party now to sort of invest in educating people, invest in having people trained in a particular field, and to do some strategic placement in order to protect the direction in which the government goes. Because if you don't do that, then you'll be wasting your time. So you have to give credit where credit is due. Folks, we are about a minute or what we are. We're a couple of minutes out. It's 9:50. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap it up. Plastic up and plastic up. Remember, folks, we are coming to you live on our YouTube channel, Chops Media. We're asking you guys to subscribe to the YouTube channel, to share it on your page, because this is the only way we can grow the numbers over here in order for us to be able to do what we have to do in terms of bringing the level of communication that we want to bring. So I implore you, I beg you to share this program and to share the link and to subscribe to the YouTube channel and to ask your friends and family to do so. Please, we don't ask for a whole lot. We're not here with a can asking for financial contribution yet. But we're asking persons to help us to grow this channel. And the only thing we're asking you to do is to ask your friends and family to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And that way we can get to grow the numbers. And in growing the numbers, we'll be better equipped to do a lot of the broadcasts that we do and to post a lot of the videos that we post. So again, I beg you, I know the numbers on the Facebook page, which is the Chopping Block. That's our Facebook page, the Chopping Block, and the YouTube and Instagram page. Those two pages are Chops Media. So I beg you, please, just subscribe to the YouTube channel and we'll watch the numbers go. Last time we were here, last Sunday, we had a decent amount of persons. We have about 200 persons who subscribe. And we're going to ask again this week for your indulgence. Ask you to tell your neighbor, tell your friend, invite, whomever you can to come on board and to subscribe to the channel. To also press that notification bell. So when we go live or when we upload, you will be definitely notified. We don't take your viewership for granted. We appreciate you guys coming through because there's so much out there on social media that you could be watching. And we appreciate you taking the time to spend it with us instead. We're going to take a break and we'll come back. We're going to say our goodbyes. Stick and stay.
Full of flavor, no if or no maybe. Malta, my crave on a daily. I couldn't ask for a better cold glass. Coffee can't pass from this. My Malta, my pocket with me. You know I got it with me. I feel have a buckle for myself. Yesterday the shop locked, so today me come back. 2 new flavors on the shelf. Me say me see it and me grab it and me love it and buy it. My mommy take it and she pull it and try it. She say Malta in the morning, afternoon or night. And she finish it, she don't need no help. Drink them more. Coffee or vanilla, the Jamaican original. Have it with my lunch and my dinner. Ginseng with the ginger, make you settle and you simmer. Good for the baller and the singer. Make you feel good and it tastes real nice. Better when cool, so we put it on ice. Take a sip once, if you take a sip twice. Mother full of flavor for life. Mother full of flavor for life.
Hey, it's the girl Shensia with a message to you from myself and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Shen Yangs, everyone see wear a mask where the numbers drop. I don't want COVID, lay your dung flat. Nose and mouth, you pick cover up that. Oh, 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 oh. Sanitize or get hospitalized. Fight the virus and fight for your life, yeah. Nobody talk about say you're no response no more. Don't be reckless, cause your test say you're not happy. You can still get the virus from somebody. Don't be reckless, cause your test say you're not happy. You can still get the virus. So keep the numbers down. Protect yourself and the people around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Yeah. Keep the numbers down. Protect yourself and the people around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart.
spice up your winnings. New game supreme upon the scene. Hot pick a do it and it easy if you win. Pick any number from 1 to 15. Then all you do is watch all your winnings come in. All you need a $10. You can bet it and make it in $100. You might even win a 110 or 130. And the best money this you ever spend, dada. Hot pick, Supreme Ventures, this are the new hot topic. So easy if you win, check your ticket for the payout where you get then wrap up your money in the elastic.
See there, we're catching number 7. You win $100, TC win 110, and SWAT wins win 130. Hot pick, easy if you win. Easy if you win, me say it, easy if you win. Easy if you win, me say it.
Introducing Hot Pick, the hot new way to play from Supreme Ventures. Prices are random, 6 draws per day.
Digital, got a famous hell. Healthy, fast and reliable. If your network a hit, make sure you switch. Upgrade, move up, cause Digi never miss. Premium plans, no value for your money. More data for you and your honey. First 2 bills with the month top of your money per credit, so you can chat now. Say Digicel, I feel me sell. My Digicel, up on me best friend. D-Music, make you move it. What sports max, my team never lose yet. Esco send a message from me. 10-way video call with the whole click. How when me done me watch a movie. Super fast internet, that's why me choose it. We no like slow. Upgrade your digital life now. And everything will be alright fast. Digicel, you are the boss. Best plans with the best cost. High speed internet, quality of where you get. We no deal with slow, so no fret. Digicel, killer say you are the best. Digicel, I feel me sell.
All right, so we are back. We are back. We are back. We are back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And we are about to wrap. Let me first say thank you to our callers. Thank you to the persons who called in from Spanish Town, called in from St. Mary. Nathan McLean, big up yourself. Clifton Campbell, good to see you. Robert Lowers, big up yourself. Denise Johnson, big up yourself. Good to see you. We saw Patroy Seal. Good to see you, Patroy. Grace Bailey. Sunny Days. Good to see you as well. Betty Pattison. Mama Pat, big up yourself. Good to see you, Ma. Anthony Evening. Good to see you, my brother. Another chopping block live on our YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe. Remember to subscribe and press that notification bell so that when we upload a video or when we go live, you'll be notified. The chopping block is back, as they say, in full effect. Next week is going to be a big show. That's why this week I had to go solo. But next week, same time, same place with yours truly. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Chops Media. Share it on your page. Just invite your friends. If you want to put it up on your page and just ask your followers to tune in and to like and to subscribe, I'd really appreciate it, man. Please. And we don't ask so much here, right? So we're begging you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, right? And don't forget to press that notification bell. That means you'll be notified every time we upload a video or if we go live. Same time, same place next week, Sunday, 7:30 on the PM. Make it a date and do not be late. It's going to be a big show next week, guys. We have a surprise for you, right?
This is what you've been waiting for. A chance to change your point of view and take the break you deserve at Jamaica's resorts and attractions. When you can open your door to the seaside instead of just outside. Where you can change your mask and take a plunge.
Sunshine smiling warm up inside your heart. Feeling of pure love. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat. Dancing to the beat. Up inside your heart. Heartbeat of the world. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat.
Contact your travel agent today to book your staycation. rediscoverjamaica.com.
Comes to us for help will be attended to with urgency and respect, no matter their circumstances.
Hello? 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 Yeah, you. Hold on, and a pandemic winner. You're now wearing a mask, you're now washing your hand, and you now keep the required 6 feet distancing from other people. And what could I really cause you? You need to stop it. That no mask, no wash, and no distance something there, nah keep. You know what keep? COVID-19. Yeah, it not gone nowhere. COVID-19, they are same way. So here what you are going to do for all of we. Wear your mask, wash or sanitize your hands pan a regular, and yeah, keep your distance, please. And thanks.
We are the heart and the soul of the nation, ready to serve in any situation. The Jamaica Constabulary Force. That's who we are. That's who we are.
Out of many one people, all for one for all. Love a go answer, no each make the call. Reassure, we protect and we serve. Mean it in every sense of the word. With minds and hearts together. As a people we can push past the weather. Cause any troubles in your life won't last forever. Cause if you need an helping hand, just ask my brother 119, be clever. We are the people where shine the light in the dark. You see what evil there. So no keep no secrets, so what you need for say. That's why the Jamaica Constabulary Forces here for the community. With arms wide open, opportunities to further your potential. You will say, if you got the problem, just see if you solve them. Solve it.
We are the heart and the soul of the nation, ready to serve in any situation. The Jamaica Constabulary Force. That's who we are. That's who we are. We are the heart and the soul of the nation, ready to serve in any situation. The Jamaica Constabulary Force. That's who we are. That's who we are.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force. A force for good.
You can be anything you want in a life, and where you come from, and where your mindset there. Look on me, now we come from the yard of the ghetto, and I represent the brand Pepsi. Hey.
Yeah, we're doing it for the love. So good here we can't get enough. Every taste, every vibe, every kick in a hit. I can rise up above.
For the love of taste, I can.
For the love of self-expression, I can. For the love of standing out, I can.
For the love of myself, I can.
For the love of moving people, I can.
For the love of my country, I can.
Jamaican, I can. Jamaican, I can. Jamaican, I can. Jamaican, I can. Proud to be a
This month, our theme for Youth Month is Rethink Youth. Rethinking how we interact with our society, rethinking how our society interacts with us, and how we as youth are going to reposition Jamaica to recover as a better country for the next period outside of COVID.
Youth, rethink. Hello Jamaica and Happy Youth Month 2020. My name is Malik Helio, Chairman of the Youth Advisory Council of Jamaica, and welcome to Youth Month. This Youth Month, we are called upon in this new normal or difficult time to weather the storm by being resilient through our networking, knowledge, and inspiring hope for all Jamaicans. This year, the Youth Advisory Council has that group of young people working towards putting together policy so that we young people can have a seat at the table, bring to you a youth forum dedicated to discussing entrepreneurship, networking, and educational opportunities through this difficult divide. We stand together resolute, resilient, and ready. Happy Youth Month, Jamaica.
Hi, my name is Shamar Grant from the Jamaica Prefects Association, an organization that promotes leadership and excellence. As an organization, we believe in creating resilient youth. And now more than ever, we should encourage our youth to use their creative skills and their talents to be world changers in a changing world. Happy Youth Month.
Hi, I'm Rihanna Robinson, the National Public Relations Officer of the National Secondary Students Council. The NSSC is really the student-led umbrella organization governing all public secondary students' councils across the island. We are the premier student-led organization here in this country, as we represent over 300,000 students. In light of this current situation that we face now, we believe that youth need to be encouraged to be resilient. Practice and showcase your creative skills, showcase your talents. We believe that this Youth Month, youth need to rethink. That means you really need to sit back and meds what is going on so that you can effectively tackle this situation. You need to come different.
Hello everyone, I am Everton Ratcher, President of the Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students. The Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students is a resilient student organization. The coronavirus is presenting a very difficult problem that us as young people and as Jamaicans must solve. And how is it that the Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students is helping to solve that problem? This month in particular, we'll be doing two activities. One, we'll be hosting the Youth in Entrepreneurship Summit, which gives young people the opportunity to look at how we can use entrepreneurship to create a more resilient Jamaica. And two, we'll be hosting the Jamaica Student Leaders Summit. And the Jamaica Student Leaders Summit will create the post-COVID student leader. The student leader who is equipped with the necessary knowledge and skills and tools to function effectively through this pandemic. Us Jamaicans will get through this. Us young people will get through it.
For us to recover from COVID effectively, the youth have to be the center of the conversation. Hence why we have to rethink how youth are positioned within our society, not just within the minds of youth ourselves, but also in the minds of those we interact with. But it begins with you. It begins with youth. So I'm asking all youth in Jamaica, participate, engage, develop ideas, continue to be innovative so that we can build a strong country after COVID.
Rethink Youth.